everybody, my name is Sarah Devlin and welcome to this speed paint. I'm going to be doing another speed paint where I talk about a topic as I paint. So real quick before we get into the topic, I just wanted to say this is a house that I came across here in Pittsburgh that I thought was interesting architecturally and wanted to paint it. You guys might be thinking that this is very similar to what Minnie Small did. She's another artist here on YouTube if you've seen her, and yes it is very similar. I was inspired by her. She does great paintings of houses all around the world, and I thought this would be a great way to get to know my new city. So today's topic, if you didn't see in the thumbnail, is burnout. What is burnout? Honestly, it's when you have given too much or the world has taken too much and you have nothing left to give. Sometimes it comes from working too much, working all the time, whether it's creatively or otherwise, and you just need to replenish that well of creative energy, and it's just that feeling of all used up, I guess is the best way to put it. Think of like a juice box where you've like sucked all the juice out of it, just feeling like an empty juice box all crunched up. Also, in my experience, it comes from the idea or the thought that you need to be working all the time, doing things all the time, and creating constantly. To me, just that idea of that constant work and that guilt when I'm doing something else I should be working is what exhausts me to the point where when I actually sit down to work, I really feel like I can't. So I get exhausted and burnt out by the thought of work and then don't even get much done. But for some people, it is more of the act of doing work all the time and just becoming tired and running out of, not necessarily running out of creativity, but needing to stop and recharge. Comes from needing to feel valid as a writer and an artist, or as a person in general. The idea that you have to write every day even when you don't want to is something that really gets to me. Like I said, I feel guilty when I'm not doing that. It's like you have to write even when you don't want to, and I know that I'm experiencing burnout rather than just procrastinating when it's like, but I want to write, it's just there's nothing there. Again, the idea of feeling like an empty used up juice box. Another pressure that I have noticed, and I'm sure this is similar for many people, is the idea that you need to provide for yourself and or your family, others, like you need to pay rent, you need to buy food, you need to buy groceries, you need to pay for your health insurance, you need to pay your car insurance, all that good stuff. There's a societal pressure, especially in a capitalistic society like America, that tells you that your worth is tied to money. So that can be another thing. If you're feeling like, oh, well, I didn't earn enough money, selling my paintings this week, I'm a failure, or, I haven't managed to find an agent yet for my book, I'm a failure, or, I've been writing for, 7 years and I haven't made any money off of it. That means I'm a bad writer, as opposed to, you just haven't found the right story yet, or you haven't found the right, supports yet. And sometimes I've found that when you're genuinely passionate about something and you're excited to do something, you kind of forget about the fact that you need energy to do something even if you do really love it. Because when I'm really excited about a new project, I tend to throw myself, right in there, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I am tired. I have been working for, checks the clock, 4 hours, 5 hours, great, I haven't eaten anything. So that is something that can cause it too, that's more internal. And another thing is comparing yourself to others and how much work they do. And one thing that I have noticed that's really toxic about that, you don't know their situation. Do they work? I don't know. Maybe. How much do they share online? Do they share that they have a job? Do they share that they're self-employed? Do they share that while they're home, they're also taking care of children? Also, not everybody shares everything online or wants to go into depth about stuff like that, and you're just not going to know, and that's okay. They have a right to their privacy. So comparing oneself to others and their success or the amount of work they get done is something that definitely can cause burnout, because you feel exhausted. Like, well, I go to school and then I have a part-time job and then I come home and I write and I'm not getting enough done. This person's getting so much more done. Well, maybe they're not in school. Maybe they only have a part-time job and write, or maybe just their body functions differently. And I thought that towards the end of this, we'd talk about coping with burnout, because it's not just enough to talk about what burnout is, because I think we have all either have or will experience it at least once in our lifetime. So I think it's more important, rather than just to share what it is, talk about how to help, because unfortunately things aren't going to change with the snap of your fingers overnight. Our society is going to be our society, whether we want it to be or not. So how do I cope? I remind myself that my value isn't determined by output that is creative or otherwise. Also, I remind myself about the need for balance, and in creating balance, I will do things that I find enjoyable, such as reading, or, watching a knitting podcast, or knitting, or spinning, or crocheting, or, just fooling around, doing things that I can do that are relaxing. Maybe I go take some pictures, walk around my neighborhood. That was something I did a few weeks ago. And I find that a balance is essential. It gives you a chance to recharge, but it also takes you out of that high pressure situation and gives you practice at not feeling guilty for not doing your work. Because if you're relaxing, you're not doing your work, which is essential. And one thing that I have found is also important is being willing to sit with a problem, whether it's something in a painting, something in a doll redesign, or maybe in my book, that have to be willing to sit with it and chew on the idea for a while, whether that means sketching, that means talking it out with friends, or just literally sitting there and thinking about it, trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Being willing to sit and do that instead of just charging forward because I have to be working all the time, potentially making a bigger mistake, or, coming up with something that in the end I'm unhappy with, but feel the need to just pump it out. That willingness to just sit and think is really important because it places the value back on your creativity, on your process, rather than the product, which the product is important too. That is what we're working towards for a lot of things, and we sometimes forget that that's not the only important thing. And I think planning things out also is good because it shows that you care and you're not just doing it to get it done. So how do all of you deal with burnout, and how do you find that it affects you? If you could share down below, that would be really great, because I like the idea that if we talk about it, we can help each other keep from burning ourselves down to cinders, to the empty juice box, and just feeling like nothing. So I'm finishing up this painting here, and you're going to get to see a few shots of what it looked like in the end. So I want to thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, if you'd like more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Alright. Have a good weekend. Bye, guys!